Now let's discuss one of them in more detail. It's called the make or buy analysis. Essentially, the make or buy analysis, as we have explained, is just that decision you need to make. That decision that while you are planning, that you have to come with the decision that the items that you need, either all or some of them, how do you want to get them? Would you buy? Would you make? Would you lease? Would you rent? And then, as we discussed earlier, there are different considerations that you need factor in to be able to make this decision. Availability, the skill, the expertise, and then the sensitivity. Maybe you have some security issues, and many more factors are those things that will determine the choice of either making or buying or outsourcing and all of that. So let's consider this interesting question here. The question says that he's trying to decide whether to lease a piece of equipment that is required for his project. Now, the leasing cost is $15,000. Okay, sorry. Whether to lease, okay, for his project. Okay, now it's $15,000 to buy. So the issue is, should he buy or should he lease? If it's to buy, there's a cost of $15,000. But if he were to buy, he will be spending $500 monthly to maintain the equipment. Okay. On the other hand, if he were to lease, there will be a down payment of $2,500 and a $1,500 monthly lease will be paid until the equipment is returned. Beautiful kind of scenario. At what point? So the question says, how long will it take for the buying and leasing arrangement to have the same effect, to be equal? As is the amount you spend. If you buy $15,000 up down payment, $500 monthly payment. If you lease $2,500 down payment, $1,500 monthly lease. At what point will it cost you the same to buy and to lease? Because if you understand that point, what it means is that before that point, it might make more sense to lease than buy. After that point, it might make more sense to buy than to lease. So let us get what that point is. It's simple. We know that that point is going to be the point in which is. So let us get what that point is. It's simple. We know that that point is going to be the point in which $15,000, which is to buy, plus you'll be paying $500 every month up to that point. For example, at the end of, if you were to buy, at the end of month 1, it will have cost you $15,000 and to buy and $500 for that month. At the end of month 2, it will cost you $15,000 and two $500 expenses, because you know you are maintaining for 2 months. So that's $500 times 2. That's 1,000. 1,000 plus 15,000. That's 16,000. At the end of month 10, for example, you will have spent $15,000 to acquire, and then you will have spent $500 monthly maintenance in 10 places. So that gives you $500. So that is how you calculate your monthly expense if you buy. What of if you lease? If you were to lease, you will be paying a down payment of $2,500 and you'll be paying $1,500 every month. So if you were to lease for 1 month, how much would that be? That would have cost you $2,500 plus $1,500, and that is $4,000. At the end of 2 months, it will cost you $2,500 plus double of $1,500. So that's $3,000. 3,000 plus 2,500, that is 5,500. What if at the 10th month, if you were to lease for 10 months, so that would be 2,500 down payment plus 1,500 in 10 places. 1,500 in 10 places is $15,000. $15,000 plus 2,500 is 17,500. So with plus 2,500 is 17,500. So with this, we are able to now say, okay, at what point? We have seen at month 1, we have seen at month 2, we have seen at month 10. So now, we want to get that sweet spot, that point in which the amount you arrive at for leasing is the same as the amount you arrive at if you buy. So let us assume that that's month M. Let us represent that month as month M. So that the buying cost and the leasing cost will be equal at month M. So what is the buying cost at month M? It will be $15,000 plus $500 monthly maintenance cost in M places. What will be the cost for leasing at month M? It will be $2,500 monthly lease fee times M in M places. So by the time you solve for this, you realize that M is 12.5 months, meaning that it is at month 12.5 that the cost of buying will be equal to the cost of leasing. So the interpretation here is that if you intend to use the piece of equipment for less than 12.5 months, it might be better for you to just lease. But if you plan to use it for more than 12.5 months, then it might be better for you to buy, to save money. Please note that this consideration here is just on the basis of make or buy analysis. If you have other secondary considerations, it might overrule this analysis. For example, even if you want to use the equipment for 1 month, you will this analysis. For example, even if you want to use the equipment for 1 month, you can still decide to buy if you think that you'll be using it for other purposes outside of the project. Then you could, even if you would use it for more than 12.5 months, you might even still decide to lease if you think that you don't want to handle the overhead of having to maintain, you want to outsource. So if there are secondary considerations, this analysis might not work. But this analysis is just good to at least give you some base framework from which you can now plan whether you want to make or buy or lease or rent, as the case may be.